Good evening and welcome to KQED Newsroom. We're back with Conservative Party leader
I grew up in an Iranian household, so my first language is actually Farsi, and I didn't know that until I found this tape that my dad had recorded of me. It was like one of those old 80s style cassette tapes, and I was really surprised that basically I only spoke Farsi at that age. With my parents to this day, I speak with my mom Farsi. Either I speak Farsi with her when I'm feeling brave, or I speak English with her and she responds to me in Farsi. So it's kind of cool to be able to switch back and forth. There are certain things that you can't really explain in English. There's certain ideas and just certain tones and thoughts that are like truly tied to the culture and the language, even rituals that have a particular name in the language. And so it's really cool to have that cultural literacy in my parents' mother tongue. That really means a lot. I will say I still have a hard time with jokes for some reason in Farsi, even though I can understand the literal words that are being said. I still sometimes don't understand the punchline of a joke. As a kid, I learned French because I lived in Ohio for a lot of my middle school years, elementary and middle school. And then I ended up learning Spanish in college, and my Spanish ended up getting better than my French, but I found it really hard to toggle between the two languages because in some ways they were so similar that in the very beginning, I really struggled not to like mix them up. So it got to the point where my French really suffered as I was learning Spanish. I think it is such a privilege to get to grow up in a multicultural household. It just kind of creates this base level adaptability and sort of openness to understanding people that might not look like you. And I think that's just a really valuable thing to carry through life. The openness to other ways of thinking and other worldviews. And I think that's actually a really valuable thing as a journalist, to try to consider that someone else might have grown up differently than you. And I think, when I became a journalist, one of my first jobs was actually in the Central Valley of California, in the northern part of the state, in a city called Redding. And it was really different from the environment that I grew up in. And, it took me a little while to adjust. And I think it was really helpful to have grown up in a multicultural environment because it really just made it okay for me to try to really stay open and listen. I'm a person of Middle Eastern heritage, and my parents are Iranian. And I was born, right around the time of the Iranian hostage crisis. It was obviously a very fraught time. Having also been coming of age as an adult in the era of, post 9/11 world, I did get a taste of, how it can be hard to be a Middle Eastern person in the Western world, somebody of Middle Eastern descent. Even though I'm American, I was born here. I do feel American, but I also feel very tied to my heritage. I think food is such an interesting thing to use or to share with people. But I also feel like food, whether it's a cultural situation or even just, trying to resolve tension in different contexts, it can be such a powerful thing. Breaking bread with people is sort of like the most fundamental way you can let people in. I find that food can be a very useful tool to create a bridge. Eshtiba is mistake in Farsi. Eshtibahat dust dashte bash. That's how you would say it, like your mistakes.